Hey, how's it going, everybody? We are the Warheads. I'm Roscoe, my, my friend here.
I'm Apocalypto Joe.
Yeah. He was asleep for a second, but he's awake now. And we also have with us our other Warhead. Well, we have her avatar. Anyway, you
Yes,
know,
I am Kana. It's 11 at night. I don't have to show myself. So you can look at the avatar right there. Pretty little face, little brown skin for you, glowing and popping.
no, it's popping. It's
About
popping.
Hello, Kanaz avatar.
yeah, yeah.
Well,
Look at the
anyway,
screen, look like my heartbeat. There you go. There you go.
no, I love it. I love it. I love the little way that it jumps, when it speaks. So that's dope. But anyways, this is the Warheads, like I said, and in today's show, we're gonna be talking about Jon Gruden, the now former head coach for the Las Vegas Raiders.
Mm.
He has just recently resigned due to a long standing bunch of emails that go back to 2010. And in those emails have been a lot of disparaging comments about any and everybody, basically.
Mhm.
There's been, oh man, there's nobody that's been unscathed, it seems like, in these list of emails. But in these emails, he's talking about, the women referees in the league. He's talking about former players, not the lack or the protection given to these players due to rules and downgrading that whole process. There's just a lot of things that we're going to uncover while we talk about this whole issue here. But before I continue, I'm going to let Kanai go ahead.
Kanaz avatar.
Yeah, well, Kanai's avatar, I'm gonna let you start off today because you don't get a chance to really start off with a lot of shows. At least your avatar doesn't. So we're gonna give your avatar a chance to start.
Oh, you want to give my avatar? Okay. Yeah, I did hear about John Gruden resigning after some homophobic and misogynistic comments that he made and some statements about a union leader. So that's a big no.
Yeah.
These people kind of give you money, you get paid and everything too. So I mean, yeah, we've heard it before, not just from coaches, but dealing with him, he's similar to some of the owners that have made remarks and statements about, the NFL, players, their players, and NBA basketball. They do it so long till they get caught eventually, and everything that he's done. It just basically caught up with him, and I guess it's better to resign than to sit there and just allow people to just keep saying what they want about what you said, not wanting to be exposed. So, the best decision that he can make is to go ahead and resign for all those nasty comments that he made, but it's too common that, I don't want to say it, but it's too common that white males or white men in the media, they do stuff like this time and time again. He resigned. Ain't like nobody fired him. He walked off himself. It's like, okay, so now what? Now what?
Wait, I do want to point this out, Kanai. I don't want to interrupt you. I just want to interject this one thing.
Mm-hmm.
Although he did resign,
Mm-hmm.
it was there was a lot of onus that was put on his team, that organization in particular, the Raiders. The ownership and all that would definitely put on notice by the NFL, that they were looking at this situation in particular. So I think this was more, even though it's a resignation in name, I think it was more of they had to something had to be done. So he was forced to resign, we could say, I guess,
Mhm.
because there was, I think at the end of the day, he's more of a sacrificial lamb because there's a lot
Mhm.
more things that are going to come from this. But
Mhm.
I'm going to go into that later. But I'm sorry.
Yeah, I'm pretty much done. You good? I'm done, and thanks for enlightening me on that part. Because in the media, what I've been listening to, it just seems like they're making it seem as if he chose to resign. Like this is something that he did, not necessarily. At least I didn't hear it that way. So that's the only reason why I'm saying it that way. But I was just saying that a lot of times, even in the past, those men in the NFL and any other sports or media outlets, when white men, it seems like when they say things like this or do things like this, it's only talked about for a couple of days or whatnot, and then that's the end of it, But you know, I mean, he could lose a paycheck. Is he still getting paid? I didn't hear anything about that. I mean, he resigned, so I wouldn't imagine that he would be. But don't he have a contract?
No, no, I mean, he had a contract, a very huge contract, but I'm pretty sure that they're gonna find some way to nullify the rest of the contract or some type of buyout or however that's gonna work. But that's something
Mm.
totally different.
What you think, cousin?
Well, I'm just looking at it from the standpoint. I love conspiracies. I love the fact that powerful organizations cover things up when it's convenient for them, and
Mm-hmm.
how this information was actually leaked.
Mm-hmm.
And it makes you wonder. Like Roscoe said, and like the media is saying, this stuff has been going on since 2010, and
Mm-hmm.
I would say that's probably when they caught wind of it.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? This
Mm-hmm.
is just speaking to a more deeper systemic issue for what we
Mm-hmm.
deal with out here in society and how a lot of people feel. Because when I think about the situation with John Gruden, we already knew that he was dealing with the backlash for talking about the black players. But what I find interesting is how, just in the news cycle since past Tuesday with the so-called homophobia comments that Dave Chappelle was making, where he continued, where he makes the statement where he says, um, uh, "Do you see where I'm going with this?" He says, "In our country, you can shoot and kill a nigga, but you better not hurt a gay person's feelings." John Gruden didn't even step down until the emails about the homosexuals came out. And then it was like, now it's time to run for the hills.
Yeah.
And
He
so
was
he just,
allowed to he was allowed to coach a whole nother game while this whole mess was unfolding.
right.
Mm-hmm.
And then when the homophobia emails came out, he's like,
Uh-oh.
oh, I'm out of here.
Oh
Last
yeah.
thing, last thing I
Yeah.
need is the alphabet community coming after me.
Oh yeah. Oh
And
yeah.
so
Mm-hmm.
essentially he just proved Dave Chappelle to be correct.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah. No, even it's funny. I heard Shannon Sharp because he addressed this issue as well, and he said something about that was kind of leaning towards what you're saying and how the alphabet community um how there wasn't a real onus on getting rid of Gruden until the homophobia part of this with John Gruden kind of came out. When it was just about blacks, or when it was just about the black person that he made the comment about, where he said something about his lips or something like that, made some derogatory comment about the lips. And that's just one of the comments that was made. But yeah, this thing is totally nuts. When you think about that comment, you think about the comment that he made about Michael Sam, and Michael Sam, who we know was the first openly gay guy that was being drafted into the NFL. But there's the comments that he made about him. the comments that he makes about the female referees, which he doesn't agree with, the comment that he makes about Eric Reed, and his choice of him not wanting to, he didn't want this guy to be employed by the league, and we know that Eric Reed took a stance with Colin Kaepernick, which Chucky had a problem with. But yeah, I don't want to keep on. I want to give everybody else a chance to get the chance to say some shit about this dude.
Yeah, it's not a whole lot that I have to say about him. I just look at the historical parallels because Jon Gruden's attitude is not isolated to just him. We see the kind of pushback that the entire league gave to Colin Kaepernick just for him trying to, stand up against police brutality,
Right.
Systematic injustice. When you can have this type of attitude, you don't go around other people who are of your ilk and be able to make these statements and send these emails and not feel confident that others in your peer group feel the exact same way.
Exactly.
And so this is just one of those situations where it's like when you walk in, like back in the day when we were poor and in the projects, and you walk in the kitchen and you see a roach. That one roach was representative of many, many, many other roaches that were hiding.
I was just thinking, yep.
And so Jon Gruden, he's that one roach right now.
Yep.
That the light is on.
That light, they scattered everywhere.
Right, but you go shaking some other things in the kitchen, the other real roaches, the other racist roaches are gonna come out. And so I think right now the NFL is trying to do some damage control. They haven't released all the emails, who they've been going back and forth to since 2010. And that's what we have to remember. A lot of times we, as melanin rich people, we gather around the television to sit down and worship at the altar of the NFL, at the shield, the glass shield of the NFL, and the glass shield of the Raiders too. This is a sub shield in the bigger organization, but we sit down and we worship these teams and these players, not realizing that we're worshiping the same system of oppression that has denigrated melanin rich people since the first African came off the slave ship, since they went into the indigenous tribes and stole other Black people and put them onto plantations and so on and so forth. And so I think this is an opportunity for Black people to really reflect on, why they give revenue money to people who hate them, even though they're not promoting it outright. We know from the Colin Kaepernick situation that a lot of these team owners and these coaches feel the exact same way. Even though nobody has said that explicitly, you don't have to be stupid. All you need is a little bit of critical thinking skills to be able to read in between the lines.
Yeah, well, they're not taking advantage of using the power that they have, and we're not doing it either, as those people who you just said sit down and watch football and worship these people, in the game and the system, that is at hand, that we see, oppressing our people on the field in front of our faces. We don't even we can't even turn off the TV for a whole season just to make a statement. We Black people, we spend $1.6 trillion, a year on what? If we have that alone, even though we may consume everything, we may be the biggest consumers, but that tells us we have control over who we allow to be in our living rooms, in our closets, on our feet, on our, we control that. You talking that ish, but the reason why you making the money is because of us. We are consuming your product. We're patronizing whatever you do on the field, the NFL, the NBA, all these things and all these outlets that, we spend money on. I just don't understand how the very people playing the game, I don't understand how they sit back and allow these things to happen. And they bring in the money.
Well,
Right.
They bring in the money.
it's always a matter of well, it's the lack of consolidation of power. Actually, you know what I mean. That's really what it comes down to when you talk about having the economic power to move the needle. But if it's not a unified thing, you know what I mean, which we know we have a problem with as a community, as a people, then I mean, what good is it to be able to have this? Yeah, we spend it like you said. We're heavy consumers, but we're not using like there's other people and other races who use their economic power as
Yeah,
a voice to move the needle
that's right.
to make change. You
That's
know,
right.
and we don't do that. So
That's what I'm trying. That's right.
yeah, but
Yeah,
I,
right.
I'm me when I look at the NFL for a long time for me, and I used to as a kid, I really was like knee deep into loving the game and all that, and as the years went on, and I started to look at what looked more to me as a old gladiator kind of contest, and I realized that the most brutal sport that's out here. If you talk about the at least the main three sports, when you talk about football, basketball, and baseball, like the football game is way more physical than most any other sport, almost. Even if you go beyond those other ones, but yeah, they get
Mhm.
paid the least. They get the least recognition because people don't know them. They got helmets on. When they take off
Mhm.
the helmets, they get penalized and get money taken away from them for even trying to expose themselves on at any level. So yeah, no, I just think it's a ridiculous game. They get hurt. They're expendable to these owners and apparently the coaches as well, because like Jovi said, this guy John Gruden isn't the only guy who feels like this. You know what I mean? A game that's dominated, that's probably some 70% or plus black, and then to have most of like the higher leadership roles in the league, those really aren't dominated by black people. Those are mostly white people. When you go up the line in the organizations, those will be the people calling the shots. And now we have to wonder if there's other people who are like John Gruden who are in these positions of power, excuse me, who are not only able to express themselves like John Gruden, but we also can assume that they've used some of this privilege that they have, and some of their networking abilities and their relationships that they made to also influence whether or not some of these guys have gotten jobs or not. You know what I mean? That type of thing. So we don't know how far this goes. And I,
Mhm.
I think when it's all said and done, like we're gonna find out a lot more stuff about this situation.
But didn't the Raiders just lose their first game the other night against
Yeah, against the Bears.
they the Bears?
Yeah, they was playing against the Bears, and
They lost two games because the other night they was playing a LA team. They was playing a Rams. They
oh
lost.
man, no, it could have been. It could have been.
Yeah, but
That's
they was 3-0. That's all I was saying. So when
yeah.
I heard the news that he was resigning,
Oh yeah. No, it
and
is.
I heard the news, I figured it was something going on. I'm like, what? I said, shoot, the Raiders been doing good. All of a sudden they lose, and then the next thing you know, come out with this story about what he did. I'm like, that stuff had to be probably already brewing. They already knew about it. They just let it out.
Mhm.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that, for a very, very long time, they've known that there has been an issue with retired players having so much trauma throughout their bodies. The players union was trying to get like insurance for the retired players. a lot of them that suffered injuries during their playing days. They couldn't get the medical help. A big part of like Junior Seau shooting himself and killing himself in the chest is because his head was all messed up
Yeah.
because of the chronic traumatic encephalopathy, which is better known as CTE. But what I think is interesting is that they knew this, and they kept sending these men, these young boys, these men out onto the battlefield, which is called the gridiron, the football field, to continually damage themselves. And so Jon Gruden, let's get back to that fool. F you, Jon Gruden. He had no disregard for these players. He just doesn't care. And
Yeah.
so, I got to looking up what are the signs of a psychopath. And without getting into all the other signs in particular, I want all the other signs. I want to get into one in particular: difficulty with showing remorse or empathy. This is what we're dealing with. We're dealing with a psychopath, but once again, he's not the only one. This is all about a system of oppression that we've been under for a long time. I can't emphasize that enough. And the reason why is because it's one thing to participate in something when you're ignorant,
Mhm.
but once you continue to participate in anything where the people don't like you, it's no different than black people still buying Gucci, knowing how Gucci feels about black people. Um, Something's wrong with you. That's the cognitive dissonance coming into play. That's the Stockholm syndrome coming into play. And so the only reason I talk to black people, because it makes sense that Caucasians would go and cheer these gladiator games and cheer for their team, their mascots, and so on and so forth. But our people, from what's being done to us, it's really not cool. Like I remember during the Colin Kaepernick situation, a lot of black people were, walking away from their teams because they understood what the greater impact and message meant to us as a group. Now I know some of them have slowly snuck back in to cheering for their teams and whatnot because people are bored, and we know that sports are like the opioid for the masses. They give us sport to keep us asleep,
Right.
so we don't sit up here and stand up and knock the table over, which is essentially this system. And so the opioid of the masses is for those 16 weeks during fall until we can get them to the early part of spring, to be able to just, live their life, eat bad food, fight other people over these teams. People have actually gotten killed and beat up because they were cheering against another team. I know
Yeah.
the Raiders as an organization have a really bad reputation
Yes, they do.
fighting people from other teams. Like these are humans. They can't. The sport is so bad you can't even see another human just because of a different colored jersey. That's how messed up this stuff has us as a people, and that's why I particularly feel this way. Because I'll say this: it's bigger than F Jon Gruden. For me, it's like F the NFL.
No,
It should
yeah.
have been like that. I mean, it should have been like that. The whole NFL for real. Ever since, I'm sorry, Roscoe.
No, you all good. You all good. Go
It
ahead.
should have been that way. We started out, so-called black folks, we started out not supporting them because of what they did to Colin Kaepernick. And then Negroes just couldn't resist the dang on slave game, man. They just I don't know. Our people just are mentally, some of us are just mentally caught up in the system so much so they gotta have sports, they gotta have whatever they need in order for them to function properly, I guess. I don't know. But it should have been F the NFL. We should have been shut that whole thing down just off of what they did for the brother that took a stand to kneel, and let them know, these things are happening in our community and no one is saying anything. We don't back one another. We be like, okay, that's long enough. I need to get back out here and go do what I need to do. Same thing with this jab. okay, well, we took a stand just long enough. Okay, I want to go on an airplane somewhere. I got to go traveling. I want to go overseas. I want to go. It's always about something to do, extracurriculum, party, entertainment, or money, or we don't like to weigh out to see the changes. We don't. It ain't just. It's not just us. It's that's just human nature.
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, first of all, I want to say shout out to Mr. Crispy, who's still up with us. You know what I mean? Gruden rules. F the NFL. Yeah, fuck the NFL. Yeah, kneeling is for losers. Support your country. I don't know, man. If that's how you feel, and that's cool. Mr. Crispy, if you feel like that. But I wouldn't go so far as to say that kneeling is for losers. Everybody makes their choice. Well, what if we were to say, standing for the flag is for losers? You could take it either way. So I wouldn't go as far as to disrespect somebody for having a different viewpoint, but you do have the freedom to feel how you feel, Mr. Crispy. I'm still gonna give you a shout out for being out with us. I do thank you for being up.
Yeah, shout out to Mr. Crispy. You know what I'm talking about? Because my thing is his comment too, though, if I may speak to that, because kneeling is for losers. I'm gonna tell you like this. Kaepernick, when he kneeled, he took a lot of heat. That's a lot of heat for a loser to want to take. Losers don't like that kind of heat. You know what I'm talking about? They don't like that kind of heat. You got to be some kind of tough. You got to be made up of something to stand for something. Out here today, and especially like the flag, like that's patriotic. That's patriotic to a lot of our people that we know is patriotic, red, white, and blue, Star Spangled Banner, I'm talking about, you can't, not they flag. No, 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 no. You didn't stand, you kneel. What you call it? What the Star Spangled Banner, what they be doing when they kneel? When they open up the games. I can't think of it right now.
Yeah.
I will say this to Mr. Crispy. During that time when Colin Kaepernick was kneeling, he had men and women who were active service members in the in the military, who were supporting him. And the reason that they supported him is because they said while they were over fighting in Afghanistan and Iraq, they fought for people to have the right to even be able to kneel. You know what I'm saying? Now, I don't know if you were from the armed forces or not, but America, the ideology of this country, it doesn't always match up with the reality, but the ideology of this country is freedom of expression.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? And so for you to say, kneeling is for losers, that right there is a very myopic, a very ignorant comment, considering the broader meaning of the flag and what it means. The American
comment, and share, Mr. Crispy, on that note.
the flag in and of itself has still been a symbol of oppression around the world. You have to understand, America is not this docile animal. It's not a little lamb that people can just walk up to and pet. America is a grizzly bear. America is a Bengal tiger. America is a fire-breathing dragon, literally dropping bombs, atomic bombs, and Jericho missiles, and all kind of bombs on other countries where innocents, people who don't have anything to do with their conflicts, are being harmed. And so, Mr. Crispy, I would just advise you do a little bit of research before you say something as simplistic as kneeling is for losers.
Because the mere fact that what he was kneeling for, and I know this is not about Kaepernick, but the differences between this Jay Gruden and then Kaepernick doing what he's doing. I mean, Jay Gruden gets no honor for that, but we're talking about a man who kneeled because of police brutality in certain communities. And I know that the military are people who are very patriotic. I actually had a phone call once while I was working, and I was talking to a man. I want to say he was in the military, and he was expressing to me kind of what his comment is saying. He was saying that we hold the flag in our country and all these patriotisms to the high extent, even in the military. He broke it down. He was like mathematical with it. And I was like, wow, I have never heard anyone, I can't even verbatimly, like, I can't say verbatim what he said to me, like all of his words, but I can just give you the expression of the passion and the anger that he had behind a person doing this. But when somebody does what this man did, Jay Gruden, to me, it's a little tap on the wrist. And although the alphabet community may come after him or not, I don't really know, because I'm like, okay, what did they really say? I didn't really hear really what they said. But when we had somebody kneel for something that was important in the game, where you have a voice, or you're in the public eye, everybody is criticizing this man. So we just have double standards, man. And we just have double standards. But certain people, kneeling is for losers. Support your country. Yeah, for some of us, we don't like to support this country, because this country ain't supporting everybody in it.
That's a whole nother thing. We here for something else. We here to talk about fuck Jon Gruden. That's what I'm here for. Crispy done took us way off. And
No, we good.
No, it's all good. Because me, I like to even give fuck people they shine for a hot second, because that's what they want. But all you get is a second, Crispy.
Wait. Before we get up out of here, Crispy says,
we are not no Biden voters, honey.
Not by a long shot. Not by a long shot. You know what I mean?
But sound like Biden voters. 90% of black people voted for Biden. Now Biden is forcing you to get vax. LOL, too funny.
Biden, no, ain't none of that. All those
Crispy. We actually talk about how we hate this shit that you talking about right now. So,
exactly.
Yeah, no,
totally against all of that.
No, I think Crispy might have earwax in his ears. He may not be familiar with the Warheads. His ignorance is just on display, so I'm gonna just keep it on display.
They could be one of these YouTube trolls trying to see how we'll respond to some of this stuff too.
Well, he does. He does have a buffoon and buckwheat on his avatar. So that's
we know he ain't. We know he ain't that though.
Yeah.
No, he ain't that.
Cowards like to hide behind all this craziness. So we giving you enough shine, Crispy. Go back down to your mama basement somewhere.
90% of blacks voted for Biden.
Now we ain't even gonna give them no. I'm finna close this out, but before I do though, I first of all, I don't know if we told everybody to like, comment, and subscribe and all that, because we want y'all to do that stuff. But yeah, this fuck Jon Gruden is basically because we want to get back to this stuff. And
for all them racist comments and all them nasty comments he said about women.
The female refs, we didn't even touch on that, but
there's Michael Sam, the female refs, the union worker that the union leader rather that Kanai was making reference to earlier. There's so much stuff to uncover when all it basically breaks down to is like kind of like what Stephen A was saying earlier when he addressed this situation. And he kind of the only person he didn't attack was a white male in this situation. You know what I mean? Like any and everybody else got attacked in this situation. The union leader, Eric Reed, he don't want to get a job. You know what I mean? It's ugly out here, man. But Jon Gruden seems like he's gonna get his just due and his comeuppance when it's all said and done. This was somebody who really he was getting all this money. He was getting paid all this money when he did nothing to he won one Super Bowl, however long ago that was, and really did nothing else to validate all this crazy money that he was going to eventually get paid. So a lot of people already looked at this guy as somebody who was the benefactor of privilege, and somebody who's just another blind asshole, just taking advantage of a system that kind of caters to him anyway. But
exactly, that's a good point.
yeah, it's kind of the plain and simple. But you know, Apocalypto said it earlier. When we think about just the web and how it extends, when you think about not just this email, but the institution of the NFL in general, and pretty much how Jon Gruden wouldn't be the only person that kind of reflects the views that he kind of put out there. But I just want to close this by, throwing my middle finger up, and I want everybody else, even Kanai's avatar, it's, we don't see her avatar throwing the middle finger up, but it is. And yeah,
you know what, y'all acting, y'all are over there pouting. I only use my avatar one time.
No, we just giving a shout out to the avatar. That's all.
Shouting out the avatar tonight, not you.
But no.
Made me hungry. I'm making me a peanut butter and jelly sandwich on that.
Just make sure you cut off the crust.
I like the crust. The crust is
keep the crust on. That sounds like something Jon Gruden would want anyway. He would send an email about that, like, man, these niggas with the crust too. Crispy, that's for you, because I know you are racist big time. So I know you.
Y'all think that he's gonna come back to another team or anything like that? I mean, what is your take on that? I know we're trying to close out, but
no. We got a little time. His career is done. There's no way to come back from this. No way. And anybody who even touches Jon Gruden is gonna get some of that backlash. That's just my opinion. But Joe, what do you think?
Fuck Jon Gruden. Like, comment, subscribe, hit that bell notification. Warheads out.
Warheads out.
You see that avatar throwing up his W? Look at that avatar.